Something pretty big just happened in the relationship between India and Afghanistan. There was this high-level meeting, and it looks like it could be a real game changer. So, you might be wondering what exactly was discussed, and more importantly, why should we care? Well, let's get into it. Sometimes a single sentence can tell you everything. Take this one from Afghanistan's foreign minister. Afghanistan looks at India as a close friend. That really sets the stage, doesn't it? It tells you right away that these talks were built on a foundation of friendship, not just politics.
All right, so let's zoom in on what this meeting was actually about. You had India's External Affairs Minister, S. Jaishankar, sitting down with his Afghan counterpart. And look, this wasn't just any meeting. After a period of, well, let's call it ups and downs, especially since the Taliban returned to power, this was a really crucial moment. It was all about hitting the reset button, reaffirming that old connection, and basically opening up a brand new chapter.
And what I find really fascinating here is how closely the two sides' perspectives line up. It's almost like they're finishing each other's sentences. India's like, hey, we're your neighbor, we want to see us succeed. And Afghanistan comes right back with, we have these incredible historical and cultural ties that bind us. So it's pretty obvious, right? They both walked into that room with a ton of shared history and a real willingness to just talk.
Okay, but friendly words are one thing. What about actual, concrete action? Well, that's where things get interesting. The conversation didn't just stay in the realm of diplomacy, it quickly shifted to tangible support, especially on the humanitarian front. Let's take a look at what India is actually putting on the table.
And we're not talking about a small gesture here. The scope of this support is pretty massive. I mean, look at this list. It's not just one thing. We've got 6 brand new health projects, high-tech stuff like MRI and CT scan machines for hospitals, and then all these crucial supplies, everything from vaccines to cancer meds. It's really comprehensive. And here's a detail that really drives the point home. India gifted 20 new ambulances. But get this, it wasn't just some promise for down the road. They actually handed over the keys to 5 of them right there, during the visit. That's about as tangible as it gets, right? It's a powerful symbol of immediate, direct help for the Afghan people.
All right, let's switch gears a bit and talk about the economy. Because the partnership is evolving here too. It's not just about keeping the lights on for projects that are already finished. No, this is about looking ahead, investing in brand new ventures and grabbing future opportunities.
So you can basically see a 2-part strategy here. Part 1 is all about past investments. India's saying, yeah, we'll maintain and repair the projects we've already finished. But Part 2 is where it gets really exciting. They're opening the door for the future, inviting Indian companies to check out mining opportunities, talking about working together on water management, and even boosting the number of flights between Kabul and New Delhi. It's a pretty smart approach.
Now, this whole thing goes way beyond just politics and money. A really big piece of this renewed friendship is about the people, strengthening those person-to-person connections. So let's dive into some of the cultural and educational stuff they talked about. And they laid out a pretty clear 3-step plan. First up, open more doors for Afghan students to study at Indian universities. Step 2, and this is a cool one, it's to double down on support for Afghanistan's cricket talent, which they called truly impressive. And finally, Step 3 is super practical. Just issue more visas for students, for business folks, and for people who need to travel for medical reasons.
Of course, you can't have a conversation like this in this part of the world without talking about security. And yeah, the tone definitely gets a bit more sober here. Both countries know they're facing a really serious shared threat, and that's a huge driver behind their strategic partnership.
And Minister Jaishankar doesn't mince words. This quote is so direct, he calls out the shared threat of cross-border terrorism. By framing it that way, as something they both face, he's making it crystal clear that fighting it isn't just one country's problem. It's a shared commitment and, frankly, a necessity if either of them wants to grow and prosper. So, how did Afghanistan respond to that? Well, they gave a really crucial assurance. They promised that they won't let their territory be used as a launchpad to threaten any other country. And that's a huge deal for regional security, and it's a direct answer to the concerns India just laid out. Okay, so we've got progress on aid, we've got new economic horizons, we have a shared security understanding. All of this was building up to something. It all led to one single major announcement. This is the biggest takeaway from the whole meeting.
But before I tell you what it is, let's just quickly remember what an embassy actually means. It's not just some fancy building, right? Having an embassy is the top tier of diplomatic relations. It's a symbol that says, we fully recognize you and we are in a deep, formal partnership.
And there it is. India is officially upgrading its mission in Kabul to a full-blown embassy. That's it. That's the big one. This is the official seal on this whole renewed friendship. It signals that ties are not just getting stronger, they're fully normalized.
So, this is a massive step. It really cements a partnership that's been built on decades of shared history, and as we've seen, a lot of mutual interests. But it also leaves us with a really big question to chew on. As these two old friends come together in this new, stronger way, what does this mean for the rest of the region? What are the ripple effects going to be? That's the real story to watch now.